Yo, I am here with professional baseball player, hell of a life story, life path, and New York Met. Most importantly, my guy, Bruce Maxwell. Bruce, what's good, bro? Appreciate you hopping on for real. Um, no, we've been talking about just doing this, like hopping on a call. Yo, let's just hop into it, bro. Path and journey. So, bro, born in Germany, right? Father was in the military.
Man, the path, dude. I was born in Germany, Wiesbaden, Germany. Moved back to Alabama when I was about 3 years old. My dad got stationed there at a big military base in Huntsville. Grew up there. Went to a big high school, and then when I went to when I was getting recruited for college, a lot of my teammates, like we had my senior class or whatever, we had the largest signing class for a for baseball team um, in one specific class. I mean, we had 12 guys go to either junior college or whatever to play baseball. So I was the only D3 guy. We had 10 JUCO guys and a D2 guy. And so I'm still the only one that's, still functioning. A lot of them didn't go past, a lot of them did not go past high school or college, excuse me. So crazy journey, man. I went to Birmingham Southern College, Division III in Birmingham, Alabama. I was a 3-year starting first baseman. The recruiting process was pretty straightforward, man. I mean, the game of baseball. I tell people all the time, the game of baseball is about playing. It's about going to an institution that you're going to get your play time, and you're going to get the best exposure possible, especially if you want to keep going along past college. And so it was never a big factor for me when it comes to the level of college.
Right.
It was just about more so where am I going to go and where I'm going to have the best chance to play every day.
Yeah.
And so
that
that was a big thing, man. Like, I loved my school. I still go back every now and again. There was a couple things that were benefactors of me going there. Like, I have an older sister who was a D1 basketball player at Samford University down in Birmingham, which was 5 minutes down the street. And my freshman year was her fifth year senior year, so we got to be close. We were only about an hour and a half from our house, and so worked out well, man. Family got to watch me a lot. I got to see my sister a lot, so it was a good time.
Yeah, that's dope, bro. Yeah, I mean, you brought up Birmingham Southern. Like, son, I go on D3 baseball all the time, just because like I went to D3 Wheaton, went for grad school UMass Dartmouth, also a really really strong D3 baseball program, and yeah, every time I'm on D3 baseball, I always see Birmingham Southern pop up. I see Chapman pop up a lot. Honestly, that California, they won the national championship like a few years ago, like not that long ago. 17, I want to say, whatever it was. But yeah, I mean, just to talk a little bit deeper and to spend some more time on Division III. We talked about this like on the bus one time at the WBC when we were briefly crossing paths, and like misconceptions, right? So before we get into that, and before I deliver the prompt proper, like I remember there was one time on a bus where I was sitting like this row and you were like 3 or 4 back, and you're in your fucking big ass chain. You're in your fucking
this one.
tricked out boots, and I'm like, yeah, sick, bro. So so I go. So I remember talking to whoever it was. It might have been like Eric Brank or whoever was just sitting near me, and I was just like, yeah, man, like I was briefly like D3 and like like tarp pull and practice 6 times a week, like yeah, man. And all I hear from fucking like 4 rows back is, hey, yo, what you say about D3? And I'm like, fam, like, first of all, relax, because I'll fucking cancel your flight right now. Second of all, I was like, I play D3. And you were like, oh, me too. I was like, all right, dope, so we can connect on this. So yeah, misconceptions, bro. Misconceptions. I feel like a lot of people are real quick to just shit on D3. But like, what is something that like you kind of heard as misconceptions heading into it, while you're in it, even being removed from it, the D3 experience, and then how would you even like address them?
I mean, honestly, I take it personal when people try to downplay it. Like, you got to understand, there's a lot of people don't understand, like, divisions a lot of the time are because of your school's population. Like, you don't just, you know what, we're going to be D2 this year, and then next year, you know what, we're going to be in AI.
Mm-hmm.
It's not how that works, man. Like, I wasn't a highly recruited person for Division I out of high school, which is whatever. Like, I wasn't thrown back by it or anything. I just wanted to play ball, man. And you know, the D3, there's a lot of misconceptions that go out that it's not competitive. You know, it's guys that, you know, can have the opportunity to continue to play, but it's really not a priority. And I mean, I'm here to tell you, and I'm gonna throw this out of here. I went to Birmingham Southern, and I just pulled this up because I just saw it yesterday. I went to Birmingham Southern from 2009 to 2012, where I got drafted.
Yes.
We were conference champions to this day. We were conference champions in 2009, 2010, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 19.
Bam.
we were in the regionals 2012, 14, 15, 16, 17, 19. And then last year we lost in the championship game, winner go home, in the World Series last season. Exactly. And this is all since we've been in Division III. We were in division. We got sent down to division. We transferred divisions 2 years prior to when I arrived. And I arrived in 2009. We were in a 4-year probation period from going from D1 to D3.
Yep.
So you can't compete in the postseason. My freshman year, we went 34-5.
Bro.
My sophomore year, we went 30-9. My junior year, we lost in the regional. We lost in the regional championship game to go to the World Series. My last year, bases loaded, 2 outs. We were down 1. Our 9-hole hitter is putting on like a 12 pitch at bat, swings through the last pitch, game over, we go home. And that was my last game in our uniform. And one of the biggest misconceptions is people like don't understand that we don't have the luxury of having guys who throw 97, guys that throw 95 in the bullpen, 98, whatever it is. I said, but what the difference is like D3 baseball, you have to play and you have to do everything right more times than not, because you don't always have the gifted team ability or size or the big arms like to get things done and just blow people away. Like, we had some guys on our teams that were throwing 89, 91, 92, 93, whatever it is. I was like, but for the majority, you had to do everything the right way, man. Like, you had to play the game the right way. Your fundamentals is what won you games. You know, I was a freak of nature for my team. I was like, you know, my freshman year, all 3 of my years, I had ridiculous numbers in the country, especially my last year, and that helped a lot. But at the same time, my whole team, and they continue, obviously, our coaching staff and our teaching, we play the game the right way, and it shows because we're top 10 in the country every single year. And so it doesn't get the hype that D1 gets, but at the same time, it's still the game of baseball, man. Like, you know, we still compete. You know, my first year, we were supposed to scrimmage like Auburn and stuff in the fall.
Yeah.
And you know, they weren't very competitive at the time.
Right.
But they didn't want to do it because if they lost, they would lose to a D3 school.
Exactly.
You know? And we still had former D1 players on our team too. So I mean, like, it's a misconception, because just like in D1 though, and I'm a firm believer in this, just like in D1, you have your powerhouse schools, and then you have your schools that are middle of the pack. This is how it works, dude. And D3 is the same thing, bro. You play Hendricks, us, the teams up in the Northeast, which we didn't play obviously much.
Of course.
But all the Wesleyans up Northeast are really good.
Yep.
Us in the South, you got a couple teams in Texas. I mean,
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, in certain areas, man, D3 is a big thing.
Hmm.
I mean, it's just like with everything, though. It's like when you come down and you play football, guess what? Everybody wants to play in the SEC. Like,
Hmm.
it's the same thing, dude. Like, it really is. It just doesn't get the hype. So people just think, oh, if you go to D3, you're not as talented. I was like, that's not always the case.
Not at all.
I was like, so, I mean, that's a big misconception. And I like what you said on the bus, dog. Like when I hear D3, I'm like, all right, if you're bashing D3, like, we gonna go at it. I was
We
like,
wear that shit
because
on our sleeves, you and I both. We're like, yo,
yeah. I was
let's
like,
talk about it because we done been through that shit. You
well, I mean, you think about it though, man. Going to D3, dude, we had mandatory tarp pool whenever, and it was a whole team. It wasn't just freshmen. It wasn't just no. It was a whole team. You had mandatory field duty. We did work study at the field where we were edging things, all this stuff, you know. And then on top of that, you had laundry duty. You had all these things. Like we did everything ourselves.
Yeah,
Like it wasn't. We didn't have a grounds crew. We didn't have like the luxury of having a turf field. None of that. Like, dude, everything we did was on the backs of our team, and it created a bond. One of the many things that created a bond amongst our team,
hmm,
that we competed, bro. Like we just went out and we knew everybody was battling for each other, and we just played the game the right way. And I'm telling you, I had so much fun in college competing and winning with my guys because you knew, that everybody was playing for a bigger goal, which was to win a World Series.
right.
So,
And it's even like the little shit of just like um, doing it yourself. That the point that you made, like bringing out the turtle for BP, bringing out the L screen is just like, bro, like you got me, and it's just like four bullpen guys raking the bullpen mound, or
yeah, dude.
six
Yeah.
fielders dragging the field. And I remember doing that during my fucking like fall tryout or whatever. Like each infielder would run a thing with the shit, and then pass
Hmm.
it to the next. That was dope. So you made a good point right there, and it kind of reverts back a little bit to what I talked about with Julius last week. You had so much fun, and I had mad fun on teams that I'm particularly close with the guys, not just on the field, but like also off. Like, bro, like let's chill after this. Like, it isn't just 9 innings and then see you tomorrow. Um, Locker room. What were those locker rooms like? Were like obviously they had to have been pretty good vibes if you're close with each other. Sometimes you don't have a choice in D3 because you spend so much time together. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean the
that makes.
college locker room, man. Um, I mean it's a lot different. I mean anywhere you go to college, but there's no. I'm not gonna say there's no ego issue, but in D3 you don't have many of those types of people. Like you don't have your super 5-star recruited players that are in the locker room that all of a sudden you don't have 15 uniforms and all these, you don't have all this stuff. Like you eliminate all the extra stuff that other programs that are bigger names or have bigger income, that get that, and so you eliminate all that stuff. So now it's like, all right, well, you could be in the locker room with guys. When I was in school, we were in the locker room. You might have 5 dudes in the same class, bro. We're in there studying and stuff before practice, like because we have a test the next day, and so we're all together. But then we're also got to go hit in the cage, and so it's just a different vibe. It's a different vibe because everybody's there for one reason at that time, and it's to play. But at the same time, it's like down there, like I went to the school I went to, man, it's very academic heavy.
Exactly.
And so there was no,
Damn near almost.
well, yeah, so that's
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. So it's like there's no slack, bro. I mean, if that means you gotta stay late and study and at the field after practice because you can't go back to your room because it's too loud or whatever, then boom, you got to do it. Like, doesn't matter. We're doing papers on the bus. We're doing, papers in the hotel room, studying in the whatever it is, dude. You got to do it, and
Yeah.
it's a different vibe, man. It's a vibe of we had a vibe in our locker room for all 3 of my years of unselfishness. Like it was big. Like our older guys, even when I became an older guy, our older guys, that help young guys with their studies because they might have been in the same field as them or
Hmm.
whatever it is, or the same classes or whatever. There was not much of like, even on the field work. Like there was not much like freshmen to go do this.
Yeah.
It
Yeah. Yeah.
was like basically the quicker we can get all this done, the quicker we get to go home.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was no seniority for the most part. Now there were some things, don't get me wrong.
Sure.
Like we made, like when I was a junior, I remember when I was a junior, we made the pitchers get the turtle and stuff for batting practice or for practice.
Yeah.
Well, just because, like, you know, we're doing everything all practice. It was kind of like their give back to us.
Right.
And then, you know, after practice, it's like catchers take care of home, infielders take care of their positions, outfielders help with whatever it is, like taking stuff off the field. Like, but there was an understanding that the only person in charge is our coach.
That's right.
It doesn't matter. Like, so, I mean, it was different, dude. There was no selfishness. There was no, well, I did this yesterday. No, it was like, all right, if your name's on the board to do this, you go do it. And if you don't do it in a quick manner, one of the upperclassmen is going to get in your ass.
Yeah.
And usually that was me.
Yeah, facts, as it should be. You know, it's funny, like, even just like looking at D3 baseball, it's humbling for two reasons. One, baseball is a humbling game, and then two, D3, it's like, oh, you went 5 for 5 for with three doubles? Dope, man. Fucking Peterson's mom has the sandwiches for us for the between doubleheader meal. So, yeah, real lavish, bro. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Humbling.
No, dude, it's crazy. It's like, you know, you're going on a road trip and you have Subway sandwiches,
yes,
right?
Or
going to your games.
One of the players, the mom's like got like a big ass sub and like it's like 18-footer, and you know what I mean. Everyone gets
yeah. And so I mean, it's that's how it is, dude. Like, you know, you go on the road and you get, you know, you go out to eat or you get catered or whatever, but it's not like it ain't nothing crazy.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like
all that.
Exactly, dude. It's a lot of hot dogs and hamburgers and shit. Like,
plus, like, going back to the beginning of that, like, bro, like, even without getting mixed into like the level of play and the connotations that each one has, still 90 feet bases, still 60 feet 6 inches. You know,
game's the same, bro.
You gotta hit a full count curveball. You know what I mean? Like, and shit like that. So then that brings me to my next point about just D3, and really we could wrap on this one. I talked to a lot of high schoolers. Bro, I want to get recruited to play here. Man, bro, like I'm trying to play D1. And like for me, like it's D1 or bust. And I'm like, fam, like I put my hand on their shoulder sometimes. I'm like, bro, like don't sleep on D3. You know what I'm saying? So like advice to high schoolers, kind of just addressing, I mean, you already addressed like the misconceptions, but a little bit of just like how would you not like pitch it, but just like kind of remove that like doubt that they might have about D3.
You gotta the number one place to start is just being humble about yourself.
Facts.
I tell people all the time, and I was like, I mentor kids in high school. We got a couple kids that we've mentored, me and my agency, for a couple years that just got drafted. This past COVID draft, I've got one of my kids that plays at St. John's right now as a freshman, as a pitcher. But you know, I talk to kids all over the place. You know, I still give back to my college. But I tell people, I was like, baseball's different. Like, you have to produce to get recruited. Obviously, if you're not getting recruited from a D1, that means right now you're not where you're supposed to be for them to want you or feel like they need you. It's not a knock on you. It's not a downgrade for you. Like, everybody wants to go play at fucking Oregon. Everybody wants to go play at ASU, Vandy, whatever it is. I said, but you got to be honest with who you are as a player, and you have to legitimately be honest with yourself. Like, if you have one good game, sick. You have a lights out game in high school, sick. I said, your D1 players are guys that go in every single day and they light up the field every single day. But they also might have a size difference. They might have a velo difference. They might have tools that, excuse me, that you might not have. Maybe not. You might not have right now.
Right.
Like, I know a lot of guys that have gotten recruited out of high school, heavy D1. They go there and they don't play for 2 years, and they end up transferring to a JUCO, or they transfer to an NAIA school or whatever just to play.
Yep. And also,
Like the
like,
biggest.
bro, be happy. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like a lot of baseball players, personally, I feel like a lot of them want to go to the D1s because of the notoriety,
Exactly.
because of the football, because of the other sports. Like because they're like, yeah, I get to wear, my Alabama Crimson Tide baseball
Exactly.
stuff.
They want it for their drip,
But
bro.
but guess what? Are you really looking out for your career, or do you want to go play just to be an athlete at this big D1?
Hmm.
That's the biggest thing. Like I could have went to University of Alabama with a 30% scholarship, 25% scholarship, and not played till my junior year.
Yeah.
And then we
Instead,
wouldn't be talking right now.
exactly. Instead,
Well,
you
we
work
wouldn't be talking.
to
Yeah.
raked for 3 years.
The
And got
dude,
drafted.
the only way you get notoriety in this game is if you are playing.
Yes, it's a rep.
Nobody takes stats in practice.
Yeah.
It don't matter how good in practice you are. If you're not getting game day in, day out game reps, your worth is never gonna get seen, because it doesn't matter what you do on the practice field or what you do when the lights turn on. And that's it, dude. I went to D3. I had 2 D2 offers. I had I had a couple walk-on suggestions at D1s. My sister's school, actually, in Sanford, I went out there for a show. I'm never gonna forget this either, because my sister was in school there, and so I went to a showcase out there. It was like some of the top baseball players in Alabama
Sure.
that we went out there. We went out there. I went 4 for 4 in our game. I played first base. I went 4 for 4. I had 2 doubles. I had 2 stolen bases. Um, and I had
Wheels.
and then I had like two. Well, I had like 2 singles,
Yeah.
but I played my ass off. I was one of the better ones in the camp, and I talked to the head coach, because I knew him personally
Hmm.
already, because my sister had been there for 4 years, and he was like, "You're just not D1 for us." I'm like, well, I appreciate it. Like
Yeah.
that, like
Cool, man.
no hard feelings. Like, yeah, I wanted to go to the school that my sister went to because that was awesome. But end of the day, like I'm not gonna sit here and let that bother me or dwell on me, because I got a school that's down the street that's got a great academic program and a great foundation of a team. I was like, that wants me to start for them for 4 years
Yeah.
as soon as I step onto campus.
Yeah.
And so it's just about playing, dog. Like it really is. Like baseball is not a game where you get better by sitting around.
Yes, sir.
You can't just go put up shots up in the gym, like, and then you magically get better, and then not barely playing the game. Like it's not the same, dude. It's not the same at all. Like, and so it's like you got to go somewhere where you need to play. Like you
Yeah.
have to play, because this is my thing. I tell people this all the time. Say you go to D3, you ball out your freshman year. You ball out, and now in that summer, you have D1 schools reaching out to you to transfer.
Hmm.
You can always do it,
Yep.
but at the time of recruiting, you didn't have what they were looking for, but now
And
you
your
might
value
have it.
is here, right? And then
Exactly. I
your
was like,
price
it's just
goes
about
up. You
development,
win
dude.
conference player of the year, rookie of the year. You bat 440, like, you know what I mean. So yeah, you
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like my freshman year, dude, I started at first base. I hit 431 and I led the country in damn near every single offensive category.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, bro.
Numerous accolades, all that stuff, and I had no offers. And I was like, dude, I'm cool where I'm at, because I'm getting better.
Yes.
Like I'm getting better, and my team is winning. Like that's what it's about in college. It's about winning, dude. Like, yeah, you want to build your stock. I say, but you can't build your stock if you're not playing.
If you're and if your team is 0-30, right?
Hey, well, that's what I'm saying, dude. Like it's just it's everybody wants to go to the teams that they see on TV,
Mm-hmm. And to be
but
fair,
nobody.
sometimes that's all they're exposed to. That's all they know about. And I'm just like, nah, fam, like, do your research. I'm here to tell you, do your research on defense, right?
I'm sure.
Yeah, big time. There was one line that you had in there where you were just like, that kind of hinted almost at like school spirit. I feel like at D3, because you spoke super happily about Birmingham Southern. I love Wheaton. I talk about it like mad happily and shit. Um, and my grad school alma mater, UMass Dartmouth. But bro, like when you're a D3, bro, like you're in the school, right? Like you ain't just going because it comes with baseball. Like you're like in those libraries and classrooms and study halls and shit like that. Like you're a part of that community at D3 more so than you are at D1, where you're a really small fish in a big ass pond. My last thing on this is, you know, it's funny, and sometimes parents and coaches can be to blame for this as well, where it's you know, as we know at D3, you can't get a sports scholarship. Now, you could get an academic scholarship, basically in an amount of whatever, but it cannot be labeled as a baseball scholarship, for instance, right? However, and this is a line that I heard a few years ago at an NCAA conference. Would little Timmy like to flex to his boys, bro, I got a baseball scholarship to Division I school X university, or does he want to turn to his friends and say, I got the Graham Bell Alexander Excellence Scholarship to go to D3Y University? Usually that party is going to choose a D1 shit just because, like, yo, like for the coaches and the
Wow,
programs
bro.
they've been through, yeah, like it looks good on them. When really it's like,
Yo.
what is the value there? Value is a big question that these high schoolers gotta ask themselves.
I mean, your value relies on what's important to you.
Mm-hmm.
If clout and notoriety is important to you, and but your personal development on the field is not, then go ahead and go to your D1 school and sit
Sure.
to your junior year.
If you're a borderline,
Sit and sit to your junior year to only now in your junior year you're competing with a freshman who's top recruit in in that class.
correct.
Like, so it's not even guaranteed that you have a starting spot because you're a great practice player.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's my point. It's just like I didn't have to. All I competed with was myself when I was in college. Because the day I stepped on campus, I was our starting first baseman. There was nobody better than me. I knew that, but then at the end of the day, I made sure that every day I stepped on the field and I stepped in the weight room and whatever, I made sure that I worked to let my teammates know and to let them know that there's nobody better than me. And then when we step on the field to play somebody else, the other team is going to know that I'm better than them. Like, it's just, well, I mean, that's just how it works, dude. Like, we were disgusting.
Yeah.
And we worked hard and we picked each other up. There was nobody left behind when we came to our Friday fun days, to our running. Like, dude, I can't tell you how many numerous times I had my freshman year and sophomore year that I had juniors and seniors because I'm a big dude. So like when we would do our mile runs and stuff like that, they would get done mad early.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't tell you how many times where I had my teammates chase me down to run with me to make sure I wasn't by myself.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, running's not my strong suit. I was like, but especially then, I was like, it was either, okay, let's sit over here and watch him, or we're going to go catch up to him and run at his pace and let him know that he's not alone.
He's not alone. Right.
That's the big difference, dude. That's a big difference for me. I can't speak for D1 programs that do shit like that. I was like, I can't. All I can do is speak for mine. But I know a lot of guys that hold that D1 level at a super high priority. But it's like, how much? And I tell people this: how much value does I'm playing for D1 X, say University of Alabama. I'm an Alabama baseball player, University of Alabama baseball player. How much value does that really have when you're not playing?
Correct.
Like it's cool, but how invisible and that's why I tell some of my kids. I was like, how invisible do you feel when you're not on a travel squad?
Mm-hmm.
Or when you're walking around in your baseball sweatsuit every fucking day, because everybody does that. I mean, I did it, whatever.
Of course.
I was like, but you're not even backup.
Right.
Like you just sit in the dugout the whole time, usually in your turf shoes.
Right.
Like, yeah, exactly. I was like, how much value does that hold? Like, was it cool because you get to go to the parties and you get to University of Alabama football games and stuff? Is it that big of a deal? Like, dude, we went to Bama games and I went to school 45 minutes away from T-Town. I was like, guess what? I probably felt more important than you do.
Hell yeah, yeah. If
I
that's
mean, so
if that's
well, if
what
that's
it's for.
yeah, if I didn't care. I mean, but it's just like taking that note that clout
Mm-hmm.
from D1, bro, because baseball is different.
Very
They
different.
draft you from talent, bro. We've had like I want to tell you, we've had 10, 10, maybe 11 Division III players ever get drafted that made it to the big leagues. I had two other guys from my school specifically, one before me, one after me, that got drafted super late,
Sure.
and they played for a little bit, and they never got past, like A-ball, double-A. But, I got drafted in the second round by the A's. I got converted into a catcher.
Yep.
And so it was already difficult for me, like stepping into pro ball, and I already had that, oh, well, he's D3. So we don't super expect him, but, let's change him and give him that because we think he's better off behind the plate than he is at first base.